No, it was just Math-tinez because I searched it up.
Oh, is it just Math-tinez?
Yeah.
Did you find me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we watched your videos.
You watched it?
Yeah.
I'm going to see how this works. If y'all start watching them and subscribing, then I'll do them every day.
Is it recording right now?
Wait, what if these
Let's see. I think we are. Yeah, we're recording right now, so we're good.
They hear us, but hey.
Okay. All right. It can hear you. It's like has a little microphone, so we can hear what's going on. It doesn't record you.
So am I
It
going to hear
just
myself on
records
YouTube?
my voice and what you see on the camera. Okay? All right. But I just have to let you know so you guys know. All right. That's going to be a really awkward intro to this video, so when you guys go and watch that. All right. So let's get started. Linear regression. So we just talked about where we've seen this before, the lin-reg on your calculators, right? So what we're going to talk about is a correlation coefficient. R is what we call it, because you know mathematicians are generally pretty lazy. When we can, we're going to shorten something into a symbol or a letter because we can, okay? So the correlation coefficient is just going to be R. It's a number between 0 and 1 that indicates the, let me go blank there, right on camera. That indicates the strength of the linear relationship between two variables. Okay? All right, the sign of R, positive or negative, indicates the sign or direction of the relationship between X and Y. So it tells us what it does, the type of correlation that it is. So you guys learned back in 8th grade the 3 different types of correlations. Do you remember what they are?
Positive, negative, and no correlation.
Very good. Positive, negative, and no correlation. So let's look at this one here on the further left. What kind is that?
Negative.
Negative correlation. Awesome. So we use scatter plots a whole lot in the real world, right? Who uses scatter plots, do you think?
Teachers.
Teachers? Yeah.
Businessmen.
Businessmen? Why would a businessman need to use
They sell an item.
Okay, so they want to see like a trend, right? If I'm a business owner and I just put out a commercial, then I might want to track like from the time I put my commercial out until now, did it actually make a difference in my sales? You guys see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Okay. So let's look at, oh, Nick, you had your hand up. What do you want to say? Nothing? Okay, never mind. All right, so let's look at the next one. If it is going up, what type of correlation is that? Positive. Awesome. Positive correlation. All right. So what about right in the middle?
No.
No correlation. And the STAR test likes to do things in your answer choices. It likes to put negative for A or positive for B and then no correlation for C, and then it'll throw something else in there like nonlinear. Is there such thing? I mean, when we're talking about correlations, we learned 3. There's not a nonlinear. It's there to kind of confuse you, but what we call it is just no correlation. Okay? All right, so now let's talk about the type. So if I'm negative, there's either going to be a weak or strong correlation. If it is close to 0, it's going to be weak.
On both sides?
Nope, just here, from 0 to negative half. If it's bigger than a half or closer to 1, it's going to be strong. Y'all got it? Okay, so now on the other side of the spectrum, remember this is kind of like my mirror. So if it's from 0 to a half,
Strong.
this one's going to actually be weak. And then from half to 1, this one's going to be strong. Because the closer it is to 0, the weaker it is. Okay?
So if there was more numbers, could one be wrong or weak?
So does it go greater than 1? That's a good question.
No. No.
Our R correlation coefficient actually can't go over 1. It's just restricted between -1 and 1. So we can't be at 2. It's just R doesn't go out that far.
But if there was more numbers, could it?
What do you mean?
Like, if it went all the way to 4, could number 1 be weak?
But it doesn't. It only goes from 0 to 1 and 0 to -1.
Is that just on this one?
It's just for all of your correlation coefficients. For R, it just can't go outside of -1 and 1. You know how we've been talking about domain and range and how we have restrictions? This is restricted. R has to be between -1 to 1. When you guys get to statistics and you talk about probability, the highest probability you can have is 1, right? If it's at 100% probability that you'll get, heads or tails, right? Then that's a 1. It doesn't go above 1 because 1 is 100% probability. Is there such thing as a 200% probability? No, that just doesn't exist, right? So that's why this number is also kind of restricted. All right? So now let's figure out how to find that correlation coefficient. So this is for your calculators. That's for the most part how we're going to be finding it. All right, so go ahead and clear your calculator memory. So that's going to be second plus 712. It's a good habit to do that pretty much every day when you come in. All right, so what we're going to do is we've got to turn something called the diagnostic on in your calculator. So you're going to go second 0, okay, and then you're going to scroll down until you see diagnostic on. You're going to scroll until you see diagnostic on. Okay, then can I redo it? Yes. So you hit second 0. Oh, so make sure it's the on, not the off. So press clear. Okay, so go back to second 0 and get the diagnostic on. Anybody else having trouble?
No. You press enter around the diagnostic on?
Yes, so once you have your little cursor there, go to press enter and then press enter again to where it says done. So it's going to go ahead and turn the diagnostic on. So you'll see what changes when I go to stat now. So now when I go to stat and edit, and we type in our numbers, so we'll go ahead and use this first table as our numbers. Remember, your x values go on the left and your y values go on the right. Anybody having trouble with that? I will help you. Or a neighbor might help you if they're nice. Okay. Did you get it? Okay.
Oh, snap.
Got it? Got it? Got it? Okay. All right, so now it's the same thing we've been doing after you type in your numbers. You got it. Okay, so after you've typed in your numbers, we go back to stat, over to calc, and we're going to go to linear regression, linreg. Okay. Make sure that the X list and Y list says L1 and L2 because that's where it's pulling your values from. So then you guys know we just press enter and it's different, right? So because I turned the diagnostic on, I've got 2 extra little numbers. I've got R squared and R. Our coefficient, our correlation coefficient is R. So that number is going to tell me whether it's a weak or strong correlation, whether it's a positive or negative correlation, okay? So let's go ahead and copy on our papers, excuse me, what we see here. So what's our M? What's our slope?
1.125.
1.125. What's the y-intercept?
1.6.
Negative 1.
Negative 1.6. What's my full equation?
Oh, Jesus.
Y equals
1.
1.125x minus 1.6.
Very good. So there's my slope, my y-intercept, and I'm going to plug it into slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. Okay? So r is the correlation coefficient. We're just going to round this to 0.95. All right, so now,
We just use R.
do what?
We just use
We
R.
just use r, yeah.
What's the R squared?
The r squared is r squared, 0.95 squared.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay, so let's look at our number line here. So where does 0.95 fall? Yes, Nick.
Strong.
Okay, strong. How come it's strong?
Because it's over 0.5.
Good. And is it positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive. So we would say this is a strong positive correlation. All right, so again, if I'm a business owner and we're gonna model the trend of our business from like January to December, and that's when we put out our commercial, and I got a correlation coefficient of 0.95. Is my commercial having a positive impact on my business?
Yes.
Yes, that commercial is pretty good, right? I've got a really good system going on, okay? Why don't you guys go ahead and try the next one on your own? Remember to clear out your numbers on your table. You just hit delete, 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 delete until they go away.
Or just in push or thing.
Yes.
Does that clear that the thing?
Yeah, it will clear the diagnostic, so you'll have to go back and turn it off. So if you clear the whole thing.
Do we just do the first two numbers?
No, do all of them.
No,
That's a good question.
Do this.
Do this one. Okay, yeah. While you guys are working, I'll be right back. You guys done? Yes? Anybody want to share your answer? All right, Dominic, you're close right here. Let me see.
All of them?
Bring it. Yeah, bring it all up here. And your calculator. So we can see what you did.
Oh, very good. I got M was negative 2.55. B was negative 42.41, and then Y equals was negative 2.55x minus 42.41, and then R was negative 0.41, and it was a weak negative correlation.
Excellent. Okay. He rounded 2 places in the decimal, but if you rounded 1 to the tenths, then you might have gotten like negative 2.6 and 42.4. Those are the same thing, okay? And I didn't specify what I wanted you guys to round to, so that is perfectly acceptable, okay? So are there any questions? So quick review, what does the R mean? What is it? Correlation coefficient. What does that number tell me?
That if it will be strong or weak
If it's a strong or weak, and then also
or positive.
positive or negative. Excellent. All right. since you guys did so well,
Yeah.
Yeah, monkey.
I